You are born in the dark, not the soft dark of a den or a burrow, but the crushing black of the Arctic deep, hundreds of meters below a ceiling of ice you will probably never see. The water here hovers just above freezing, sometimes a little below it. There is no sun. There is no warmth. There is only cold, pressure, and the slow, patient business of staying alive. Welcome to life as a Greenland shark. Get comfortable. You are going to be here for a very, very long time. Most animals get a childhood. You get a sentence. From the moment you are born, already a meter long, pushed out into the freezing water with no parent waiting, no lessons, no protection, you are completely on your own. Your mother is already gone, drifting off into the gloom at the speed of a tired old man on a slow walk. You will never meet her again. You will never meet most of your own kind again. The deep ocean is enormous and empty, and you are built to wander through it alone. And wander is the right word, because you are slow, not lazy afternoon slow. You are the slowest shark on the planet. Your top cruising speed is somewhere around 1 kilometer per hour. A human could outwalk you without trying. Your tail beats so slowly that the scientists who first filmed you assumed something was wrong with the footage. In a body that can grow longer than a car, every movement is a decision your sluggish, ice-cold muscles would rather not make. You don't chase, you don't sprint, you creep through the black water like a shadow that forgot it was in a hurry, and there is a reason for it. Down here, in water this cold, your entire body runs in slow motion. Your heart beats only a handful of times per minute, so rarely that, between beats, you could be mistaken for something already dead. Every chemical reaction inside you has been throttled down by the freezing temperature. You think slowly. You react slowly. You digest a meal over weeks, sometimes months. The cold is not just your home. It is the throttle clamped over every single thing your body tries to do. This is the first cruel joke of your existence. You are a predator who cannot catch anything that is awake. So how do you eat? You wait. You scavenge. You sniff out the dead and the dying and the unlucky. Your nose is extraordinary. You can smell a rotting carcass from kilometers away. And much of your diet is exactly that. Rotten. Fish that died and sank. Seals that didn't make it. And sometimes things that have no business being at the bottom of the ocean at all. Scientists have cut you open and found reindeer inside you. Whole limbs of moose. Polar bear remains. Horse bones. You are the Arctic's garbage disposal. The creature that swallows whatever falls through the cold and forgets to ask where it came from. Anything that sinks is potentially your next meal. And in a frozen world where food is scarce and far apart, you cannot afford to be picky. You eat what the ocean gives you. Whenever it finally gives you anything at all. There is a rumor about you, though, a darker one. Some scientists believe that when a seal makes the mistake of sleeping in the water to avoid the polar bears on the ice, you drift up underneath it, silent, patient, invisible, and take it before it ever wakes. The slowest hunter in the ocean, killing the fastest prey, simply by arriving so quietly that death feels like part of the dream. If it's true, it means your greatest weapon is not speed or strength. It is the fact that nothing ever sees you coming. But here is where it gets worse, because even your own senses are turning against you. Look closely at your eyes, if you can find them. Hanging off each one, like a pale, wriggling worm, is a parasite. It is a kind of copepod, and it has burrowed into the surface of your eyeball and made a home there, feeding on the tissue, scarring the lens, slowly eating your vision away. Almost every adult of your kind carries them. By the time you are grown, you are very likely partially or completely blind. And the truly bleak part, it barely matters. You live in a world with no light. Your eyes were never going to be much use down here anyway. So you let the worms hang. You feel your way through the dark by smell and by the faint electric whispers of other living things. You are a blind giant, drifting through black water, dragging parasites off your own face. And somehow, to you, this is normal. Now let's talk about how long you have to endure all of this. You are not just old, you are the oldest. Greenland sharks are the longest living vertebrates on Earth, the longest lived animals with a backbone that have ever been measured. By dating the lenses of their eyes, scientists estimate that you can live for 300, 400, possibly close to 500 years. Sit with that number. A shark swimming in the Arctic today may have been born before the telescope was pointed at the sky. Before some of the most famous moments in human history had even happened, there are Greenland sharks alive right now that were already old when ships still hunted whales by hand. You do not experience seasons. You experience centuries. And you might think, surely that is a gift. Centuries of life? But length is not the same as living. Because almost every one of those years is spent cold, slow, half-blind, and alone, doing the exact same thing in the exact same darkness, over and over, while the world above you rises and falls and forgets you completely. Worse still, your body is in no hurry to grow up. You age so slowly that you do not even become an adult, capable of having young of your own, until you are around 150 years old. 150. You will spend more time as a child than most animals spend existing as a species at all. By the time you are finally ready to reproduce, entire human civilizations could have risen and crumbled. And even then, finding a mate in the vast, empty, freezing dark, when you both move slower than a stroll and may not even be able to see each other, is its own brutal lottery. Many of your kind simply never manage it. They drift for centuries and die without ever passing anything on. So, you grow about 1 centimeter per year, slower than your own fingernails would, if you had any. Every scrap of length you add costs you another full trip around the sun. You are a creature built entirely out of patience, because patience is the only thing the deep ocean ever rewards. And through all of it, there is no one. No pod, no school, no family, no help. The fast, warm animals of the surface have each other. They hunt in packs, raise their young, fight, and play, and grieve. You have none of that. You meet another of your kind so rarely that each encounter is almost an accident in the dark. For 3 or 4 centuries, your life is essentially a single, unbroken solitude, stretched thinner than any creature was ever meant to bear. And then there is your flesh. Because even in death, you are cursed. Your body is soaked in chemicals that let you survive the crushing pressure and the brutal cold. Compounds called urea and trimethylamine oxide. They are your antifreeze and your ballast, the secret to surviving where almost nothing else can. But they also make your meat toxic, genuinely poisonous. Any animal foolish enough to eat you fresh, humans included, is hit with something Arctic peoples nicknamed being shark drunk, stumbling, vomiting, hallucinations, a poisoning severe enough that it can, in theory, kill. To make you edible at all, humans have to bury you, ferment you, and let your own toxic flesh rot for months before hanging it out to dry in the wind. The result is one of the most infamous foods on the planet, a fermented shark dish so overpowering that first-time tasters routinely gag at the smell alone. That is your legacy at the dinner table. You are the animal so toxic that the only way to survive eating you is to let you decompose first. So let's add it all up. You are born in freezing blackness, alone, and you stay alone. You move slower than almost anything in the ocean, too sluggish to chase living prey, surviving on the rotting dead. Parasites devour your eyes until you go blind, and it barely changes anything, because there was never any light to lose. You take 1.5 centuries just to grow up, in a body that crawls forward 1 centimeter a year. You may live for nearly half a millennium, not as a celebration, but as an endless, repeating loop of cold and dark and silence. And even your flesh is venom, so toxic that the only thing it is good for is poisoning whatever dares to eat it. And yet, here is the strange, quiet truth hiding at the center of all this misery. You endure. While faster, flashier animals burn bright and die young, you simply keep going. You outlast your predators. You outlast your prey. You outlast empires. The world speeds up, warms, changes, panics, and you drift on through the dark at 1 kilometer per hour, blind and ancient and utterly unbothered, a living fossil quietly watching the centuries slide past like snow. Maybe being born a Greenland shark is not a sentence after all. Maybe it is the longest, coldest, loneliest kind of victory there has ever been.